Welcome home. Today we're making a vegan beef with broccoli, and it's inspired by a video from Kenji Lopez, but I want to make a vegan version. And I did it the other day and it's so good. So I've got this seitan, which is a homemade seitan, which, I mean, you can see the same recipe that I used actually in my steak video that I can link in the description. And cool. So yeah, it's fairly tough, this stuff. So what we're going to do is just tear it up and pop it in a bowl, and then we're going to add a few bits that will just help softening it. And the thing that I was really impressed with this recipe was how soft the seitan becomes and just how tender it gets. So we're just tearing it up into chunks like this. You can cut it, but I like the fact that it absorbs things better if you tear like this rather than just do a straight cut. And I just prefer the look of it. All right, there we go. Boom. So let me give my hands a little wash. Get the seitan off, just a little rinse. And what we're gonna do is add in a few bits. So just a little bit of soy sauce, probably just a little sprinkle like that, maybe like only a teaspoon or so. We're also gonna add in just a little bit of sesame oil for flavoring. And as well as that, we're gonna add about a quarter teaspoon of MSG. This isn't essential, but it really improves the flavor. And also a little bit of salt. And just a small, maybe about half or a quarter or so teaspoon of corn flour. And then just get in there with your hands and give it a good old mix. And the cool thing with the corn flour is it makes it get a little bit crispier when you fry it up. Spread that up a bit. So yeah, really work in the sauce so that it's absorbed in the seitan. So now we're just gonna leave this stuff on the sides to tender up. Right, now let's preemptively add a little bit of water for our broccoli. So I'm gonna turn on the pan here, the stove, whatever, and add a little bit of water in. Cool, lovely. So that's gonna start heating up while we're prepping our broccoli. And here we go. So often people use some of the broccolini, which is that the kind of tender stem broccoli, it's sometimes called. For this, we're just using some regular British broccoli, and this stuff works great as well. And what we want to do is we're also going to use the stalks with it as well. Let's see what the stalks like. Just try that. So it's still quite tough. So what we're gonna do is just take off a tiny bit and then go around the base of the broccoli and just get a little bit of that tough skin from the bottom, which is just gonna be super chewy. But we're still gonna use the stalks because the stalks taste great as well. Go through with the broccoli, slice it all the way down. And then when we get up to the smaller heads of broccoli, I'll just chop it off there, and then we can just slice this up. We've got some black bits there that we might get rid of. Just being fussy. And now, yeah, these ones are pretty easy. We'll just pop them off. Oh yeah, I'm super excited for this because I love this recipe and I am super hungry as well. This is my breakfast today. And then with the larger bits, we're just gonna slice up the stems and maybe cut into the florets a little bit, just to make them a more like a bite-sized chunk. But I still like them quite big. It's one of my favorite parts of this recipe is like the nice crunchy bits of broccoli in there. All right, that's all our broccoli done. Let's see, water still needs a while to boil up. So let's just pop this smoothly to the side, like that. And we're gonna start making a little bit of a sauce. So, base for it, we're just gonna add a couple tablespoons. And then we're gonna add, we've got white wine vinegar here. But yeah, you wanna do 2 parts of the soy sauce to 1 part of like white wine vinegar or something like that. And you can always just have a little sip of it. Obviously it's gonna be very strong, but you just get an idea of like the balances of the flavors. So yeah, that's good. So often you'd add something like an oyster sauce, but obviously that's not vegan. What I started using is ketchup. Now I know it doesn't sound very fancy, but it goes really well. It thickens things up, and the kind of subtle tomato-y taste goes so well. And another thing that I like to add in is some of these Korean chili flakes. You can add, just to make it a bit spicy. You can add lots of other things. You know, you can try just adding, you could add some sriracha, or you could add some regular chili flakes as well. And we're gonna also add a bit of corn flour. Excuse me. We're also gonna add in about a teaspoon of corn flour, which is gonna help make a more thick sauce. And because this is a Chinese recipe, we're gonna add a little bit extra sugar, make it like a very sweet and spicy sauce, and a little bit sour as well. So let's first give this a little mix to get that corn flour in, and to mix in the sugar as well. Honestly, this way of making stir-fry sauces, I only discovered it fairly recently, but it's so nice. It's so versatile. Once you know this, just, you know, a bit of cornstarch, bit of soy sauce, bit of something acidic, and you can kind of, you know, add in different spices and different flavors, and oh, it's such a great way to make a quick, lovely stir-fry sauce. So let's have a little taste just to get an idea of the balance of flavors. Awesome. Yeah, these chili flakes are so nice. I definitely recommend picking them up from like a local store that sells, you know, Asian foods. It's getting hot, but still not quite boiling yet. I'm also going to turn on this pan. I don't have a wok, but you can still cook it up in something like this. So we're going to add it onto a medium-high heat, and we want it to be super, super hot, the pan. So I'm starting to heat it up now. Another thing as well, this isn't quite the ideal ratio of broccoli to beef, but this is the amount that I had. So you'd probably want to have like, I don't know, that much broccoli. You know, a similar weight of broccoli to the beef, but it's just more convenient to use the whole broccoli and the rest of the beef that I had left over. Crunchy. So I just popped the broccoli in here quickly so that we can start on the other bits. So we've got our ginger here. Probably gonna use, I'm not sure, this is on the edge. Should I use half? No, I like it super gingery. So we're just gonna go all in. I'm just gonna use this whole block, which is a lot, but I'm happy with that. Oh, okay. Our water's ready, it seems. So let's just pop in our broccoli. Nice. Make sure it's covered as much as possible. And we'll pop on the lid. Yeah, the broccoli really shouldn't take too long, only a couple minutes, because we want to keep it nice and crunchy still. So for the ginger, probably use less than this for most normal people. But yeah, so we're going to cut across the grain into these little slices like this. Lovely. Then we can give it a little crush just to kind of soften it up. So now we'll just slice it up. Doesn't need to be too precise for this. We just want to make it so that they're all roughly the same sort of size and there's no big lumps. Nice. Cool. So let's pop that to the side. And let's see our broccoli. Just grab a little bit just to see how it's going. It's still got a good amount of crunch to it. Doesn't taste fully cooked, but that's what we want. So we're going to turn that off and give it a drain. So yeah, with this, you really got to make sure you don't get that overcooked broccoli, because that just makes it mushy and that's no fun. So just a little blast, and now we're going to pop it onto the side so it's all ready to be finished off when we cook it up. So last thing we need to chop up is some garlic. So let's grab some, let's grab a couple cloves. Oh, this is well wrapped up, this stuff. Right. We've got a lot of ginger, so I guess we should have a lot of garlic to balance it out. Oh, already opened that one a bit. Right. So again, with the garlic, the technique is just getting rid of the edges. Now, just want to give them a crush. And that skin just comes right off now, like that. Lovely. So yeah, just mince it up. And we can bunch that up with the ginger because it's all going in at the same time. So now we've got everything ready, let's add in a bit of oil. And we've got sunflower oil, you just want some kind of neutral oil. Add in, yeah, decent, a couple of tablespoons. Maybe more like a tablespoon, depends. You know, I like it to get nice and crispy, so I add a decent amount of oil in there. And you can see how hot the pan is because the oil is smoking straight away. So got everything else ready to go in, because once the meat goes in, whew, things happen pretty quickly. So I'm just going to use this to give myself a bit of space. Okay, so because we're not using a super hot wok or anything like that, what we're going to do is just leave it like this on one side, don't keep stirring it, just let it sear nicely on one side. Keep the oil flowing. Now let's have a little test, see how it's getting on the other side. So they're starting to get a little bit brown, so just give it a shake. And then any of the other ones that didn't turn around in the shake, just twist those. Obviously with the shake, you know, you should be able to get half of them, you know, on average to flip over, and then you can just do the other half manually like this, just to make sure it's all getting nice and crispy on all the sides. And yeah, that's looking great. You know, it doesn't need to be completely 100% cooked now because there's still a little bit more cooking time. So now what we're going to do is stick in our aromatics, which is the garlic and ginger. And here we're just going to stir these in nicely. And this stuff, probably want to cook in for, yeah, about 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds. Just a little bit before it starts to, you know, get dark and browning. Maybe at the very edges of seeing that. But you want to be careful not to overcook it, because then it goes pretty crispy and hard and it kind of gets stuck in your teeth. It's not so nice. But again, you don't want to do it too quickly, because then you end up with you know, raw garlic and ginger. So that should do. Now we're gonna give this a really quick little mix. Sometimes the corn flour can sink to the bottom. Pour that in all around the pan and mix that through. Oh, that's smelling amazing and it looks so good already. All right, now we've got that mixed through. We're gonna stick in our broccoli. Now, I'm just using the tongs because I don't want to add in any excess water that we didn't manage to drain out. So, sticking these in like that. Get back to mixing before it sticks too much on the bottom. And we want to get all of that sauce up in the broccoli as well. Oh yeah, it smells so good. All right, now turn off your heat and we're gonna stick this into a bowl. Yeah, let's put it all in. Get all the sauce and all the good stuff in there. Put this to the side. And there we go. Beef, vegan beef with broccoli. Look at that. So let's try a bit of the beef. It's got super, super tender, beautiful texture, and oh, it tastes so good. Bit of broccoli. Lovely and crunchy. Nice sweet, sour and spicy coating to it as well. Oh, this is awesome. Definitely gonna become one of my regular recipes. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.